At Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad events, where I sometimes speak, attendees always ask me, how do I find a good investment property? This has to be the most commonly asked question, and for good reason. There is a needle in the haystack sort of quality to this whole endeavor, or at least it seems that way, particularly if you've never done it before. Do you look in the newspaper, grab sales sheets from a real estate office, check the internet, drive around? The whole thing just seems so haphazard. Truth be told, there is a lot of information out there about property and a lot of ways to get that information. Maybe too many ways. Knowing which resources are valuable and knowing how to access them can save you time and a lot of frustration. In this series, I'll reveal a research strategy that you simply cannot do without. By walking you through my experience of buying a property in a new market I knew nothing about, you'll see how this research method works and what you can gain from it. There's no real trick to this at all. It's just having fun. Being open to the information that's available about your market, knowing where to look, and committing yourself to it. Researching a market can be a lot like doing the preliminary research for a college paper. Maybe you remember the feeling of stepping into the library first time or jumping on the internet, looking around at all the books and the magazines and the article, the computer databases, the microfilm, if you're as old as me. It's overwhelming. You knew the information you were looking for was in there somewhere. The problem was finding it and then making sense out of it. Your first paper was always the hardest. But once you got familiar with the best sources, the next paper just gets easier and easier. Well, at least that's what I was told. My college professors would be proud of me today because I did eventually learn how to research. And I learned how to make it really fun. We have a great time researching markets and properties because research to me is nothing more than using the resources around you to gain information and insight into a particular subject. In this business, that means talking to people, touring an area, taking in the sights, even within your own town. Kind of sounds like a purposeful, tax-deductible vacation, doesn't it? Well, it can be. So let's get this party started. The 3 levels of market research. The research techniques described in this series will help you in 3 ways. First, they will give you a snapshot of the various markets and the submarkets within your city or town. The more diligent you are about doing the research, the more vivid the picture will be. And in the series ahead, you'll see why a very vivid picture here will save you time and money later. Second, this research will show you how the market will influence your property investment. And third, you actually may be lucky enough to find property leads during the research phase, but don't count on it. The most important fruit from your efforts is the picture of the market. The properties will come later. Level 1 research. Level 1 research is what I call very preliminary stuff. To do it, you don't even have to leave your house. This is research you do before you even set foot on a property. Or in the case of the true story of our acquisition of the waterfront property in Portland, Oregon, before we even set foot in the town. You should know we didn't just pick Portland out of a hat. Before we settled on Portland, our goal was to do level 1 research on all the major markets in the Western United States. It was a time to expand our company's reach. And the question was where to go. One of the first things we did was look at all the newspapers and business journal newspapers in every major Western city on the internet. We followed the online hyperlinks to every interesting lead. For example, we'd type in a city like Denver into the search engine, and up would pop a story about population growth. We'd follow it. And then as part of that story, there'd be a link about school funding, and we'd follow that. What we found was very interesting, particularly in Portland. First, we discovered that the city has an urban growth boundary that we felt would limit the supply of rental property in the future. That's a good thing. Next, we found that the city of Portland was progressive in their downtown planning and progressive in terms of transportation with their light rail, bus system, taxi system, streetcar system, and even plans for a future water taxi on the Willamette River. We also found that living and working downtown was in high demand and that downtown employment picture was favorable. We were beginning to get our picture of the market. It was looking good. On the downside, we found statewide unemployment was leading the country with a whopping 8.1%. This was an important finding because when we saw that statewide number compared to the unemployment in downtown Portland, we knew for us the only opportunity was downtown or possibly a few other suburban bright spots. Furthermore, downtown was mostly all built out and had even greater supply restrictions than the rest of the metro areas. Our job was not going to be easy. We found all this information out in less than a day from my desk in Phoenix, Arizona.